Welcome back to GBGuns, and if you've been with the channel any length of time, you know I'm a fan of Walther. I like him so much, I carry two. Not because reliability is an issue, but why reload when you can just go to a full size? Be it the Q4 Tactical, Q5 Match, PPQ, always excellent guns, always incredible triggers. We've got something new for 2018, and that's what's coming up next on GBGuns. So what we're looking at is part of the Walther family. We have my old reliable P99AS with its incredible trigger, the Q4 TAC, Q5 Match, PPS M2. Now these three are younger and of the newer design. You can tell that looking at the ergonomics. The PPS M2 is one of my favorite carry guns for how slim it is, and yet having the ergonomics and grip size for me to get a whole hand on it. Yes, this is the bigger magazine of the two, but you can see that even though this is a thin, small gun, it works well for my hand. Sometimes people wish they had a little wider of a grip and a little more capacity. That's what we've got. So
before we get into the Walther blue box, lockable plastic box, I do want to say that this is an early production one, sample, and so may not represent exactly what would come for purchase point, but I had the honor of getting my hands on this before the guns went public, and so that's just kind of what happens with early samples. We open up our case, and we've got the PPQ SC Subcompact. Up top, as always with Walther, we get our chest target. This one has a bit of a wide grouping. My guess would be because there's not a whole lot to hold on to on this gun, but maybe I could beat that. I don't know. It's kind of one of the fun challenges in always getting with Walthers and their targets. We have our magazine loader. We have the right magazine button. So this has an interchangeable magazine release to be able to do left side or right side, depending on what is most comfortable for the person. You don't have to be a left-handed shooter to want to push the button on that side. A lot of paddle release folks like myself sometimes reach over there, but it's a learned thing. We also have a second bag strap that gives a more pronounced heel than the one that's on there. More on that later. And here is the gun. So this is a 10+1 configuration. It will also come with, and I'll roll in a picture, a 15-round magazine with a sleeve on it, which is kind of a neat thing. Gives you, well, I mean, one of my early carry guns, I wanted to buy one gun and have it be both usable as a range gun, usable at training events, and potentially in competition. So I went with a model very similar to this. They came with a flush fit short magazine and then a larger magazine for use when I wanted to have higher capacity. Let's take a look at the gun. I'll get all of this out of the way. Very excited about this.
So now I've zoomed in a bit so you can see it. All the specs and sizes and things, etc., will of course be in the link at the bottom of the screen in the video description. Start off showing clear. You can see it's clear there. Nice bright red follower to make it obvious there's nothing in the magazine, and of course we can see in the chamber. Good cocking serrations up front. Man, this guy is little. It still gives a full hold, just missing the bottom. It's literally like a frame chop. It's not scaled down other than that, and the barrel being slightly shorter. But let's take a look around the gun, and then we'll get into some of the specifics and the differences, and of course we'll field strip. So, slide to frame. We do have side-to-side wiggle, but that's to be expected. This right here is really just a dust cover. That's literally what that section is called. But it is railed, and we have two slots. We've got some serrations on the front of the trigger guard. I'm not one of those people who grips the front there. but on a gun this small, I could see it to help keep the muzzle down. In fact, I might even try that at the range. Nice serrations, everything very PPQ-esque on the top. Nice long slide release that is ambidextrous on both sides. Now, with slide releases this long, it is easier to ride it, so you have to consciously keep your hand down, and that's what this depression, you can see the ramp there, helps keep your thumb down in there, which is nice. Also, very close and easy to get to the magazine release, and as we come to expect from Walther, it is magazine ejection, not magazine release. Look at that, it jumps out. We've got the modern Walther stippling on the grip. Not sure about this smaller back end. Might have to try the other one. My finger comes right up to here, but you can see that the edge of this swell on the frame works nicely as a memory spot for bringing your finger straight. Right side of the gun, of course, we have reversible. Well, there are two different magazine releases you can choose from. 3-dot sights, rear side to frame, a little bit of wiggle. There isn't much, in fact I wouldn't say there's any magwell flare, so you do have to actually practice with this gun. It's not going to do it for you. And let's see how that trigger is. Is it still the classic Walther trigger? We've got easy take up to a wall and break. No creep past that wall. See what the reset's like. Very positive, audible, short, and it takes us right back to that wall for another break. This has got potential to be a very quick shooter. This could be fun. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what this is like size-wise. I'm going to compare it to the other Walthers. So, since the daddy is obviously the PPQ, I don't have a standard PPQ on hand. This is the Q4 TAC. Essentially the same thing I put in the flush fit magazine. We just have the threaded barrel and the ability to put aftermarket reflex sights on there. So, putting these two guns butt to butt, you can see the difference in length there. Makes it a little bit shorter, but not too much, which is nice because really the slide length is not what's hard to conceal when you're carrying. It's always the grip. To see grip size, I stack these carefully. Almost exactly the same. It's just, like I said, a chop. Width is going to be the same. Just a shorter frame. That's really all there is to it, which means you've got this much less to have to conceal. Now, Walther's pretty smart with doing the rounded butt, which not only is more comfortable for big hands like me, but also doesn't stick out in your shirt so much when you're carrying inside the waistband. Let's see it compared to the PPS. So I do not have the flush fit PPS magazine on hand, but to show you just the width difference, it's not a whole lot, but it is enough to make it a double stack. And as far as barrel length, if we put our chambers equal, the barrel is a little bit longer, so we are going to get more energy and probably more effectiveness with defensive rounds out of the PPQ CS than we are the PPS. Also notice there we do have the witness window for checking if there's a round in the chamber. It's slightly smaller than it is on the PPS. Let's field strip this guy and take a look inside. All right, to field strip this guy, of course, as always, you start by checking. There's nothing in there. Kick that magazine out. We're going to squeeze here to pull the slide back a little bit. Pull down on this takedown lever on both sides, nice and broad and easy to grip. Let go, pull the trigger, slide comes forward and off. So there's our innards. Very PPQ-esque. Got metal reinforcement for the frame. Nice strong ejector there. You can see a little bit of polish on this bar here. That is what lifts up on your safety, trigger safety detent here, which is part of what makes that trigger squeeze so smooth. You can see this still has some of the grit in it from the test firing. Like I said, this was a brand new brand new production early gun that we have the honor of getting our hands on. Notice something, you look at those inner parts there, and they're marked 9mm, hinting that this is going to be coming out in another size soon. So we remove our captured recoil spring, 2-stage, and the barrel comes right out. Take a look at the machining in there. It's a little dirty. Let me give it a wipe real quick. So after wiping it off a bit, it does look like this channel here is plastic and inserted. It's interesting. Different design. Take a look at our barrel. We have a nice broad feed ramp there. Get the light on it so you can see. And it looks like we're going to have full chamber support. We'll check real quick using our nozzler. Dropping that in there. And as you can see, it's a nice, deep, full chamber support. That helps potentially with safety, also helps with tolerance of overpressure rounds or weak brass, things of that matter. Something reloaders like, because if the brass blows up, it's a little bit safer. Reassembly of the PPQ SC follows the same lines as most modern guns. We're going to drop the barrel back in there, put the spring in place, and then bring it over the slide. Function check, everything's fine. I'm curious to see how that other backstrap affects grip size, especially considering that I have large hands and this is such a short gun. So to change the back straps on this, as with many models, we've got to drive that pin out. Just needs a punch and a hammer. You can have one of those fancy blocks, or you can just use a magazine. Just need something so that when the pin comes out the other side, it's not going to be driving into the table. With our pin driven out, we now have the back strap off. This is what came on it. And just for reference, with the magazine in, taking my natural grip, my fingers resting about there, which allows for proper placement on the trigger if I want, or potentially going a little bit too far, which can cause that pulling to the right. But the trigger is so smooth, I doubt that's really going to be an issue. So you see how it's feeling in my hand. I'll take this back strap off. Now we've got the larger back strap. You can see it sticks out quite a bit more. Definitely fills the hand a lot more, gives you more heel to rival. So by the heel driving into your palm, when the muzzle tries to flip up, gives you a little bit more sensation of that. Really, it's going to come down to squeezing with this finger to keep it down. Trigger reach is the same, so obviously because nothing's changing up here, but it just kind of fills the hand a little bit more. So it's really a personal preference as far as which one you prefer. I think I like the bigger one. It fills the hand a little more. I've got large hands and this is a short stock. So that's what I'd be running with if I started carrying this gun. Next, get this out to the range and do our standard battery of tests and experiences with it. That'll be the full mag plus one to see if the gun does run with the full mag in it. Some of them don't. We'll also run a variety of loads through it. I believe currently our heaviest is 165 grain all the way down to 65 grain to see how it performs and if the gun can cycle it. And then a shot group of 5 shots at 7 yards using that Nozzler 115 grain match. Thanks for watching. See you on the range.